to our podcast. And by that, I mean on Wednesdays we read. I'm Hannah.
I'm Laura.
And we are two best friends who do a deep dive into a book series, one book at a time. Right now we are shiting on the Wheel of Time, and we are discussing The Dragon Reborn, which is the third book in Robert Jordan's series. So Laura, what are you reading, watching, and or enjoying?
So on Netflix the other night, my husband and I watched The Week Of with Adam Sandler and Chris Rock. Have you seen that?
I don't even know what that is. I recognize the name, but I don't know what it is.
It's a movie from a couple years ago. I'm not sure if it was released in theaters and then just sent straight to Netflix because it was not great, or if it was just a Netflix movie. I'm not for sure, because sometimes Netflix throws, oh, this is a Netflix original on there, and it's like, no, it's not. But this was a movie that I think they were trying to remake as this is a modern day Father of the Bride, but it was like some of the actors were trying really hard, and some of them just were not. And some of the jokes landed, some of them just did not. And it was, I don't know, at times I was like, okay, that's kind of funny. And then at other times I was just like, this movie isn't very good.
Okay. I do recognize that movie
We
now.
thought she was very good.
Okay, you liked Rachel Dratch. Okay.
She was good.
She's very funny. I always enjoyed her in 30 Rock.
And Adam Sandler had moments where he was good. And I think really the heartfelt moment that he has with the bride that is his daughter in the movie, I think that was good. But a lot of it, I was just like, I don't know if this is a good movie.
It's probably not. I mean, I feel like Adam Sandler is very hit or miss. He'll do anything.
Yeah,
but
and I think it was just one of those things where it was just they were like, we'll give you $1 million if you make this movie. And he was like, sure, okay, I've got 20 minutes.
Well, and you're you like Adam Sandler movies a lot.
I love Adam Sandler.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Have you seen his more serious stuff, or do you just watch the comedies?
As in?
Well, he did the Unrighteous Gemstone movie recently that is
No, I haven't seen that one.
Okay. And then he also did a weird one about 9/11. Did you see that one?
Oh, no, I didn't see that. I guess I've only seen the comedies then.
Okay.
That's the answer to that
question. I know that he does more serious roles sometimes. I was just wondering if you were an Adam Sandler completist or just a comedy person. Okay. That's fair.
I think just the comedies.
That's fine. I was just curious. I've never asked.
Honestly, it's just because I have it's honestly just because I have weird nostalgia for Happy Gilmore and some of those movies from way back when, and really rewatching some of them, oh gosh, why?
My sister used to love Billy Madison so much.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She used to sing.
I like that one too.
Part. Yeah. Okay. Are you reading anything right now?
I started the Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern, and I'm not very far in it, but it's giving me very much Shadow of the Wind vibes. Okay. You haven't read that yet, but
I haven't. You gave it to me.
Light spoiler, that there's a hidden library that needs to be protected, that type of thing. So it's giving me a lot of those vibes.
Okay.
But I'll report back after I finish it. I've had a lot going on, so I haven't had a ton of time to read.
That's fair. I haven't had a ton of time either. My firm has us do a trial school, and I have a closing argument to give tomorrow, so I've been working on that a lot. But the Starless, you and I both love Night Circus a lot.
Oh my gosh.
I love Night Circus. Book. I listened to an audiobook, and it's so atmospheric, and the way they describe and set the scene is so beautiful. It brings you into the novel.
That was one of those books. I got it from the library last year sometime, or maybe 2 years ago. I can't even remember now, but that was such a good book. I think I read that in a day because I loved it so much. It was just, like you said, it was very atmospheric. You could just picture everything that was being described, and everything was just beautiful, really.
I did that on an audiobook coming from Texas to our hometown for Christmas when I was living in Texas. And it was the perfect one. I did that, and then this really
I can see that being a really good audiobook.
It was a good audiobook. I also had a murder mystery one that was not good. I did not like it. Yeah. Because it was you can't go wrong with a murder mystery as an audiobook. Turns out you can.
You can.
But yeah.
I think a lot of it just depends on the narrator and then also the writing, because there's a lot of bad thrillers. Like, I don't know why the thriller genre, so it's either like it's a really good thriller or it's just bad.
Well, you heard my theory on that after Gone Girl, they just greenlight any thriller that they that comes across
anything that says like girl in the title, it's like immediately published.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, women love this. And yes, women love true crime. But I was talking to someone last night at a children's birthday party, and we were discussing my favorite murder. And he's like, I'm not sure how they became so famous. They're just two women who are chilly reading a Wikipedia article to you. And I was like, yeah, that's true, but I still love it.
I really enjoy that podcast. That's one of my favorites.
But if you think about it, I once introduced it to my friend and she said, are they reading a Wikipedia article? And I go, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
That's
well, and
that's
the two of them, they'll say, shout out Wikipedia and like, please contribute to them because
yes, exactly.
That keeps this podcast going. But I think it's funny how they just met at a party and they just started randomly talking about a murder. And they were like, we both like true crime. We're both weird and like this. And I just think that's the funniest thing, that's how they kind of got connected.
That's so fun. There's so many random things. My friends recently visited like my hometown. Mm-hmm. And there's a prison there, and they were like, have you ever read the Google reviews on the prison? And I was like, no,
why?
But apparently the guards there are quote unquote very chill. Yeah.
Well, that's good to know about the guards there.
Yeah, they're quote unquote very, very chill. So
Did you read Georgia and Karen's book?
No, I didn't. I
read it. It was good. I mean, it was what I would expect from them,
Yeah.
Very much just kind of trying to be inspiring. And I think maybe the stuff that Georgia had was a little more interesting to me because she talked a little bit about like her eating disorder and everything. So I thought it was good.
Okay. Well, shout out to the My Favorite Murder
book.
But
if you listen to the podcast, you probably know it all anyways.
Yeah, that's kind of what my thought process was. But okay. Interesting. Well, I'm glad you're liking the Starless Sea. Keep us posted. And everyone should definitely read The Night Circus because it was very good.
I'll check back on that. Yeah, for sure. What are you reading right now?
I'm still reading Six of Crows. Oh, we also did a watch party last week where we both watched Shadow and Bone together.
Yes.
With a couple other pods. Shout out to all of them and a books YouTuber as well. But what did you think of Shadow and Bone?
So I didn't stay for the whole watch party. I think I watched 3 episodes with you guys, but then I finished the series during the week. I watched, I think the rest of it, I had it watched by Wednesday, but I really liked it. I thought it was good.
Oh, good. I liked it too. I liked it a lot. I think like the consensus is I really enjoyed it. And I kind of just wanted it to be Six of Crows because that storyline was so much better. I have not read Six of
Crows yet, and I was hesitant to watch the show before reading it, but then I wanted to do the watch party a lot, so I was like, I'll just do it. I'll break my own rule. So I also really liked the Six of Crows storylines, and I wanted it to just kind of be that, and I was less interested in the Shadow and Bone stuff. Like, but maybe it was because that was just like more interesting to me because I didn't know anything about it.
I wouldn't even say that because I had read halfway through Six of Crows, so I kind of know. And like, I would say the plot isn't the same as the book. The characters are the same, but it's a very different plot because it's supposed to happen after these books took place. So I just thought the Six of Crows storylines were better. It's a little bit darker. It's a little bit more fun. Like the Shadow and Bone is a little bit more straightforward of storyline. And Laura knows this, I was in love with Jesper because I love the funny man. So can't be helped.
For sure.
My brand of person. But yeah, I enjoyed the watch party. I thought Shadow and Bone was great. Definitely go watch it, people.
The casting for that show was really good. I thought that maybe the best part of the show is how well they cast everyone.
That was so well done. It was so good. I loved every single one of them.
Yeah, like props to those casting directors.
Yeah, except I was not there for Kaz. He was a little Weasley to me. And then
you didn't like him?
Oh no, I did like him.
Kaz Brecker you didn't like?
No, I had someone else pictured in my head, but I didn't dislike him. He was like the only problematic where I was like, oh, I pictured something different. But other than that, I was very happy.
I thought he was really good.
Oh, no, I thought he did an excellent job. I am not dissing this actor who did a very good job.
Mm-hmm.
But in the books, he's also like a little bit more, I don't know if you picked up on this, but he's more neurodivergent in the books.
Okay.
So he like can't stand being touched by people and hates being close. And I felt like, I was like, oh, I kind of missed that in this TV show, you know, but that was the only thing. It was nice to see
a disabled character on screen because he uses a cane. So that was cool to see. And also a disabled character that's a badass. So that was cool.
And that's why I really like his character, because he is a disabled character who's neurodivergent, who's still a badass. And that is a character I love. So I just wanted to see a little bit more of the neurodiversity. But
yeah, I guess that wasn't evident to me just watching the show.
But like, and it's all internal, which is hard to express externally, because like you get to see his perspective in the book and you get those thought processes. Like, he definitely has lines that are like neurodivergent coded or explicit based on who's reading it. But I did wish that a little bit more of that had been seen, but that's my only critique. But one of my friends from high school was in love with him and sent me multiple messages about Kaz. So to each their own.
I think Inej was probably my favorite character.
Oh, yeah.
I know you were a big Jesper stan, but I think Inej was my favorite character.
No. Inej was my favorite character. I just couldn't handle the cuteness of Jesper. And that was, I just crushed on him hard.
Gotcha.
But Inej is definitely the best character. That's for sure. You're not wrong. You're 1,000% right. But other than that, so I'm reading Six of Crows right now, trying to finish it. I also recently started Pet by Akwaeke Emezi. They are a non-binary author. Excellent book. I'm like 10 pages in. I'm here for it. It is about a transgender girl who like a monster in a painting comes to life and it's like her pet and they have to hunt down monsters.
Cool.
And I'm not sure what the monsters will be because like there's some hints that it might not be what you think it is. But like Akwaeke Emezi, I read The Death of Vivek Ojai from them and that was great. And I couldn't like, they're such a good author. They're just great. So I highly recommend anything they write. But I'm doing both those books at the same time.
I didn't know if that was written by the same author.
Yeah. They wrote Pet, which is a young adult novel. And then they've also done 3 adult novels. And I want to read all of them. I highly recommend all of them. But other than that, and then for TV shows, like I said, I watched Shadow and Bone. And I've been talking about it on Twitter, so people will know, but Sarah Bareilles' new TV show dropped this week. And she's my ultimate human being.
Yeah, you told me to go watch that.
It's definitely like Tina Fey humor, because Tina Fey is an executive producer. But there are very, like, I would not say the show is excellent, but it is very cute and it is good. And there are solid jokes that did make me laugh out loud. Mostly delivered by Sarah Bareilles. She's not an actress. She is my favorite person. So I am heavily biased. But like the way she delivers lines, because she's not an actress, like she doesn't like chew on them. She just kind of throws them away. And it's very interesting to watch her reacting to like actual actresses. And they're very funny. Like Paula Pell is supposed to be the youngest of all of them. But she's obviously like 10 to 15 years older. And she's like, I just can't believe I've lived this hard of a life that I'm the youngest of all of us. And it's very funny and very cute. But I highly recommend if people have Peacock. I downloaded it for a week and will delete it. So,
I mean, do what you got to do.
I know. But I also want to try to watch Saved by the Bell while I still have the free one, the reboot, because that's also on Peacock. So those are the shows I'm watching right now. Let's dive into the boys of the Dragon Reborn.
Should we start with Rand?
Yeah, I figured we'd start with Rand, because there's literally nothing to say about Rand.
The best part of this book was that there's very little Rand.
There's like no Rand. So
I know.
It was a perfect novel, honestly. Like
we loved it much more than the other two, and I think it was due to the lack of Rand.
Because Rand never has much growth. Like Rand is always the hesitant
and
hero.
It's not for like lack of empathy for what his character is going through.
No,
because I think we both are very empathetic to the fact that he is going through an extremely difficult situation and going through really just more than should be thrown at a 17-year-old. And he's discovering that basically his whole life is a lie and that he has to save the world and that he's the one that everyone in the world is counting on, basically.
He's going to go crazy at the end of it.
He's going to go crazy. He might die. He might kill all these people around him that he loves. So that's an immense amount of pressure to put on any person. But
reading 14 books from his perspective would be a lot, especially when it's like, in this book, the book before it ends with him going, I guess I'm the Dragon Reborn. And this book, from his perspective, he's still saying, but maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe I'm not.
No, Rand, you are. We've discovered this. You know it. You're in denial. And like, that's fine. Denial is key sometimes. It's not fun to always read about when you're like, no, we've spent 3 books on your denial. Can we not? For like,
right.
So I do like his development in this book as it stands of we got out of his perspective and saw how other people react to him now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not so much his reactions to everyone else as their reactions to him now. So everyone else felt a little bit more active in this book than reactive.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just out of the plot and they just met him up later. And I was like, okay, I'm down with that. But you're getting more people's perspective on how they view Rand. Like, you see Matt's views on Rand, you see Perrin's views on Rand. And it's more interesting when he's like this catalyst character to see how other people think of this like catalyzing character. But I don't know. Do you have anything else to say about Rand?
No, that's basically it. Just glad that he wasn't around much.
Thank you for that glowing endorsement of the main character of this novel.
Love you, Rand. Glad you're not here.
Okay, so do you want to talk about...
I honestly don't have big problems with Rand as a character. Like, he's definitely not a character that I hate by any means.
No.
But I think it's just like we said, that his character does not grow. And so it's just a lot to hear all of his thoughts all the time. And everything is so repetitive in Robert Jordan's world that it just is like a lot to sit in. It's just more interesting to hear other people.
I would agree wholeheartedly with that sentiment. Do you want to talk main characters and go into a few ancillary characters?
Let's talk main.
Okay, so do you want to do Perrin or Matt?
Let's do Perrin first because we've already talked about him before. What'd you think of Perrin?
I mean, he's a solid character. He's one of my favorites. Like,
same.
Yeah, he's a mainstay.
I think that neither of us are going to probably change our minds on how we feel on him unless something major happens.
I could see getting real upset with him and his fighting with the 2 women who are about to fight over him. Like, that's something that I think both of us will find annoying because we know Perrin won't handle it well. Because I do love Perrin, but boy can't handle girls to save his life.
Also, I did get a little annoyed with him, like, just bickering with Moiraine. That was annoying to me a little bit.
I was kind of here for it.
Really?
I liked it. Yeah, because I don't think Perrin was doing what, like, because Rand will just scream at Moiraine, and Rand had some points when he was screaming at Moiraine when he's like, people are dying in my name. I want to be active. And she's just like, no, sometimes you can't. Sometimes people have to die in your name.
Right.
And that is frustrating. So I get why he's yelling at her. And then like Nynaeve just wants to murder Moiraine, so that's not as interesting.
Sure.
But Perrin had like a little bit of the Nynaeve Moiraine dynamic of book 1, where he's like questioning things because he has good questions, and he's pushing back and saying like, why are we doing this? Why can't you just like remove Fail out of our lives? Like, what? Why are you doing? And like, Perrin's more active. Like he rescued the Aiel He like, and people are like, well, you messed up when you did that. It's just like, no, I didn't.
I think Perrin has a lot of compassion.
Right.
And I think was it Gnome? Was that the man's name that basically became a wolf? I think it was Gnome.
Probably. You're better at the names than I am.
I think his name was Gnome, that he basically became a wolf and was unable to get out of that scenario. I think Perrin just really felt for him and his situation and related to that, and then did not want to see himself end up like that, trapped in a cage. So he really wanted to see Gnome be able to get out. And then when he saw the Aielman in a cage, I think he was able to kind of relate that back to the situation with Gnome, and he just didn't sit well with him, no matter who it was.
he's a just character, but so is Moraine. So I think sometimes like just people butt heads because they both think that they're right. Like, they're looking at the world through a very specific lens, and they're right because they're kind or compassionate, or, you know, I don't think Moraine's always compassionate, but I do think that they're different flavors of each other, to the point where I was like, we won't get this obviously, but I was like, oh, Perrin and Moraine were matched up together. I wouldn't mind, like, because I could see them getting along well.
Interesting.
Well, with her being like, you know, you're an attractive boy, right? I was like, oh, that's kind of cute. And like, you know, I know he's much younger than her, but it wouldn't have bothered me if that was a random storyline that popped up instead of like bringing two random girls into it that are a hawk and a falcon and bird-like for this wolf, you know? Yeah, I just like Perrin overall. I do think the stuff about him fearing becoming a wolf is interesting.
How did you feel about him and Fael?
I wasn't here for it. There's just not enough there.
It seems like such an immature relationship at this point, where it's kind of she picks on the guy that she has a crush on type thing. And I'm just like, okay, I guess I'm at the point in my life where I don't find that endearing. And
that's very fair. And I would happen to agree. She seems very immature. Like I took an oath in the square with everyone, but I didn't tell them what I was doing. And I'm so much more capable. I'm going to start following you guys. It just, why?
I think Perrin is very, like, I don't know if off-put is the right word, but I think that he finds her a little off-putting, and maybe he's just uneasy around her is maybe the better way to look at it, just because she acts differently than the other girls he's used to, like Egwene and Nynaeve. But that's,
again, like, you can have the hots
not
for
saying a lot because you can like someone and still not like always make fun of them and be like, hey, big guy, what are you doing?
Well, again, there's a difference between
like, come on,
sexual attraction and healthy relationship. Like, those things are not mutually exclusive, but they're not always together either. So I think that there is definitely like sexual attraction between them, but does that lead to a healthy and long-term relationship? Jury's out, because and it's just so weird where like at the end, it just felt, Jordan's just not good at writing romances, because at the end when she's like, I knew you'd save me, Wolf, and it's like, you guys have not had a good moment together. Not one.
And that's the other thing I was going to point out. Did it seem just kind of like thrown together so quickly? Does he just tend to do that with these romances where he's like, these two are together now? Because that's kind of how it was with Nynaeve and Lan, and that's kind of how it's happening with this one, where it's like they're together.
Yes, I would agree.
And there's no build-up.
Yes, there's no tension. Like, there's no sexual tension. There's just like sparring back and forth and yelling at each other. Like, there's a little bit with Lan being like, I think you're capable, Nynaeve, and it's just like, oh thank God, a man thinks I'm a human. Like, it doesn't. It's not.
What a compliment that.
You think I'm a human being. Awesome. Yeah. So I don't think their romance is good. It does feel thrown together. It does feel kind of half-baked. I don't have an opinion on Fael, like, because I don't have an opinion on most women in these books for a while, because they don't have enough plot or characterization to them. So we'll discuss her next week, I guess.
I think for her, like right now, we'll discuss her next week, but yeah. But right now, I just kind of look at that relationship. I'm like, this is so immature. It's just a junior high relationship where she's like, he's cute, I'm going to push him down in the mud. And he's like,
well, that's how women flirt, Laura. How did you get your husband? You didn't push him down in dirt?
Exactly. I pushed him down in the mud, called him big guy, and
and
made fun of him for not shaving.
Blacksmith. I love how much of a
farm boy
it is that Perrin's going to have a beard one day. Like, they keep talking about it.
Okay, why is that such a big deal? Like, he is 17 or 18 years old. Good Lord, get over it. Why is that hilarious to people that it's like, haha, you have to shave? Like,
it's like, Egwene's like, oh my gosh, in this dream I had, he had a beard. And it's just like, this is not a plot point. Like, it's facial
I'm curious as to what Robert Jordan looked like if facial hair was important to him, because he brings up things about Perrin that I'm not sure if it's like beards were important to him, or if he's just trying to like drill into our brains the fact that he has wolf-like characteristics because he can but connect with wolves. So whenever he says something, he says it like with a growl, or he's referred to as being hairy and stuff like that. So I don't know if it's just one of those things where we're supposed to see Perrin as being hairier because that's like being a wolf, or
I don't know. I had to pull up a picture of Robert Jordan because I realized I was just picturing J.R.R. Martin in my head this entire time, which is not accurate.
Yeah, I was kind of picturing that too.
I mean, he has a beard, but I would not say...
Okay, so maybe he has a beard thing.
But he has more of like, I mean, he looks
maybe
more like
made fun of him for his beard.
Specific English professor vibe. There's a couple of him in a hat. So, I don't know, but he has a beard. I could also see Robert Jordan being like, I think I'm Perrin.
The character Perrin was based off of me.
Yes, that's the one that I picked. The one that's just like consistently good. That's it. Not to put words in his mouth, but I could just see him picking that. Okay.
Any other thoughts on Perrin?
No, not really. Yeah.
Let's talk about Matt then.
I do want to say that although I understand your critique on him and Maureen fighting, I did really enjoy their back and forth. I liked them a lot more than I think you did in that. And his work with Lan, like how Lan appreciated his like smelling ability and the way they're like utilizing Perrin more in the books. I think
it's kind of funny how he has to try and cover up the fact that he can like smell things or whatever, and he's like, I think they went that way or whatever, and they're like, how did you know? He has to like make stuff up, like
I actually do, like, although it's repetitive, enjoy every time he forgets to light a candle in a room and he's just sitting there in the dark and he's like, oh, I'd look weird if someone came in and
I forgot
like, you would.
I forgot my eyes were this strong.
Yes, that was very funny to me. Yeah. But let's move on to Matt. So what are your thoughts on Matt?
Okay. I am starting to like Matt more.
Me too. I'm kind of here for Matt now.
I feel bad about it. I feel bad about it because I'm like, I'm starting to like him, and I'm not feeling these same feelings about some of the women characters.
I feel the same confliction. Like, I'm very conflicted about that.
Because I think Matt is going to get a much better arc than some of these women are. Yes. The women aren't going to get anything. They're not going to go anywhere with their storylines, I'm afraid. And Matt's going to do cool things. And I'm like, this isn't fair.
I have so many... Like, I just want to give you, like, a huge hand clap to this because you're saying exactly how I've been feeling all week. Like, Matt is getting this redemption arc that's fun and interesting and dynamic. And, like, I know one of our friends said that this was just a book about Matt and his gambling addiction, which is a funny take. But I like that he at least has something now. Like, he's not just sitting on the sidelines doing nothing. He's not just like whining,
like, Rand is so different.
Well, and you also get a little bit more in his characteristic and how he was raised. Like, his dad
you learn about his dad.
Always interested in making money and kind of overlooked Matt. And so that, like, lends itself to a better thing than, like, Matt's dad doesn't even like him. It's like, no, Matt's dad did like him. He came hunting for him. They did have a great relationship. Well, not a great relationship, but they had a relationship.
Sure.
And Matt has, like, wishes in the... Like, we said the most interesting thing about Matt in book one was he was the one who wanted to be on the adventure.
Yeah, he was always about the treasure and everything.
Right. And seeing it inside his head where it's, like, a more dynamic view of, like, I want to see the world, not just treasure equals awesome. Like,
right.
It's so much better. Seeing him without the two boys, I think, matures him a lot.
I agree. And honestly, I think he's a better character without them.
Yes, I would agree. I think Matt is great on his own, and he should stay away from those two boys because they all become stupid high school boys when they're together.
And I think there's just a lot of jealousy involved whenever he's around either of them. Yes. And when he's alone, he kind of does cooler things. He has a little more confidence, I think.
Well, him like beating up Gawain and Galad. That was fun to watch because it's just like, hey, I know I'm powerful. I know I can beat these guys at this, even if I'm really sick.
Sure.
You're watching a more self-assured person, and that's much more interesting. That said, he is very guilty of toxic masculinity because he wants to dance with any woman he sees. And women are,
I'd ask you to dance
with women.
If we were back in Emmons Field.
He badgers women. He is not great to them.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty much like every woman he sees. He'll like see a woman over in the corner and he's like, that plump girl over there, I'd ask to dance if we were back in Emmons Field, but she gave me a weird look, so I decided to keep on moving. I've even danced with Nynaeve a time or two. I'd ask Elaine to dance if we were back in Emmons Field. Like, we get it. Shut up about dancing.
Funny story, the first perspectives we get of him, he mentioned Elaine a couple of times. I kept sitting there thinking, like, their characters have never met. And then I was like, oh, they traveled across the country, Hannah. It was just off screens.
Yeah.
And then, like, when you came in on him, he was super sick.
I had thought that, too, though, where I was like, they don't really interact, do they, Elaine and Matt? And then I had to remind myself, oh, yeah, they did travel together. We just didn't get any of that.
But it's just weird to, like, never see them interact before. And the first thought is, like, well, she's even prettier than Elaine. And it's like, this feels weird. Like, if I'm questioning how you know Elaine, don't be talking about it. It's just weird. So I didn't love that about Matt. I am starting to like him more. Like, I don't think I will ever I don't think it'll ever be Perrin love style things, but I think I will enjoy what his character brings a lot more than I will enjoy what many of the women bring to the story, unfortunately.
Agreed. And you know what? I feel guilty that I'm probably not going to have a journey with some of these women characters where I go from a state of dislike to like, because I just don't think they're going to be written in a way that they're going to be growing as much.
I don't necessarily think don't think that's necessarily our fault. I think it is how Jordan writes women. Two,
I'm not saying it's my fault.
Something I have noticed, and I think we will definitely discuss next week, is out of all the people I've talked to, there's really strong feelings about the women in Jordan's work.
Yeah.
Like, people love them or hate them, and they have such strong feelings. And I think it's almost because he doesn't have enough characterization of them. They're kind of almost blank canvases. Like, you know how they say, like, Harry Potter is really boring because he's the main character and he's who you're supposed to think you are.
Sure.
I think there's a little something of that psychologically going on with people when they read the women of Robert Jordan's works. Because, like, you have strong feelings about Nynaeve and how much you like her, but it's because you see certain personality traits in her that key into something in you. So then you read more into the Nynaeve character. I have key points into a Queen that I've, like, keyed in on. But I have strong feelings towards Nynaeve because there's certain personality traits that I just dislike in a person. And then I'm putting more on her than she deserves because we have less to work with. So we're not being told as much about these girls' flaws and how they make them good.
And I think that's just I think that's just a thing too. Like you were saying, that the men characters, they're just better developed. They're better written.
So even if we don't love certain things about Matt, we've sat with him long enough where we're making excuses for him almost when the bad stuff comes, or not even excuses, but it's like, oh, but I still like what this character's doing, even if I don't love him or I wouldn't want to hang out with him.
Correct.
I think we're reading the characters differently because of how Jordan characterizes them. And that's not our fault, but it is something to, like, keep in mind as we keep reading, because I do, like, I've gotten so many, like, strong reactions from people about the female characters, and I do think it's because people impute certain aspects onto them.
Right.
Yeah. So,
any other thoughts on Matt?
I also liked his dynamic with Thom. Like, I think sometimes the boys have better storylines when there is an adult man in the room with them.
Sure.
So we got to see Rand bounce off of Lan and Thom really early on. And Perrin had Elias, but Matt didn't have any of those. And so him working with Thom, and Thom being, like, a little beat up, and, like, Matt having to take care of both of them.
Sure.
Or learn from Thom when Tom's like, stop being such an idiot. Like, don't ask for the captain's room so you have the best room. Ask for a shipmate's room so that we can both have a bed. It's just like think through things more, Matt. And Matt's an idiot still. Like, why are they running after me? Because I have this letter saying, Mom, don't worry. Like,
don't kill the woman. She had a knife. I'm going to kill her.
Women can't be killers. Like, they're women. The breasts that they have lockets between will stand in their way.
Yeah.
But I'm liking where Matt is going. I'm liking him more and more. I like the
luck
addiction
situation is cool.
The luck is really cool. And, like, why is he lucky? How is it connected to, like,
Because it's not mentioned, they keep saying this because he's Taveran, but it's not super mentioned that those the type of things that are happening to Rand and Perrin, that they're super lucky. Well, I think maybe they are having a lot of luck, but it's not mentioned in the same dynamic.
I think it's going to end up being connected to Shadar Logus. Like, I think even though they removed the dagger from him, something inside him is still connected to that place. And like luck can be a double-edged sword. So I actually think it has something to do with that, not with the fact that he's Taveran. That's my implication, but I don't know. I could be completely wrong. I'm wrong about a lot of storylines on here. But I like that. And I didn't steal this one from anyone. That's 100% Hannah's thoughts. So if I'm right, I actually will take credit on that, Laura. All right. But do you have any other thoughts on that?
No.
We like the luck. We like where he's going. We like him a lot more than we liked him before.
Right.
Okay. Do you want to do Lan next?
Sure.
What are your thoughts on Lan?
I feel a little bit bad for him because it seems like he spent a lot of time just kind of chasing down Moiraine and making sure she wasn't just going to do some kind of self-sabotage, self-sacrifice type situation. And I think he feels a little on edge as far as that goes.
He just doesn't want her to die. It's like, I made a promise to like keep you protected forever and
she's
ever.
Really pushing him.
And she's like,
she's really pushing him.
Yeah.
I feel bad for him because he seems on edge. He's like, I'm just trying to do my job here, and she's making it hard for me, and she's running away, and she's telling me she's going to die, and I don't know what's going to happen, and wait here, Loyal.
The way you just got like so exasperated at the end, you were like, Loyal! He was just so
That's like, how I kind of pictured it, because, well, that's how he seemed, because, like, when they went after, what was it, what are those wolves called?
The hounds?
Yeah, dark hounds, right? Is
dark hounds, yeah, that's it.
Whenever they found that, he was like, I gotta go find Moiraine!
She doesn't know about them, so I get to leave. Yeah, I don't have to follow her instructions.
It was just kind of like, oh, he is frantic.
Lan kind of bugged me in this novel. He just didn't have much. Like, I think I'm getting sick of not reading anything about Lan. Like, I think it's just like, he's there for Moiraine. He's only there for Moiraine. Or for people to be like, hey, nudge, nudge, Nynaeve, nudge, nudge. Like, and it's just like, I don't need this. It's such an annoying storyline to me at this point. I need more of Lan or less of Lan. And I'm getting like not the right amount.
More of he was the prince who was promised type stuff that we got in the first book. Yes. Or we don't need to really have much of him at all.
Right. I feel like, the amount of Lan we're getting is bugging me, and I just don't care enough.
It's it's a weird situation right now where it's just basically them dangling it in our face, like, it's going to end up with Nynaeve because Maureen's going to die in the fourth book somehow, and then by the fifth book, him and Nynaeve are going to be together. I'm sticking to that prediction that him and Nynaeve will somehow make their way together by the fifth book.
By the fifth book. Okay, it's good to know.
Fifth book, I'm saying.
Almost agree with that, but I don't. Yeah, I just they're putting a hat on a hat every time Moiraine mentions, like, you're not going to stay with me if I die. And it's just like, oh God, stop doing this. This is so annoying and mean. And I'm not here for Lan's storyline right now. I don't care about it. I don't feel bad for him. I'm just annoyed.
It just seems excessive, and we don't need it. I would take more of Thom and Matt, like, finding random people with fire.
Or like Lan with Perrin, or some kind of dynamic that's not just like Lan chasing after Moiraine. Like, he doesn't do anything. He's not interesting. I don't care about him right now. Those are my opinions.
Agreed.
Okay, I'm glad we're on the same page, because I feel like the Lan Nynaeve storyline is like so built up in people's heads because it takes place over 14 books, but 3 books in, I just don't give 2 hoots.
Does anybody really actually care about this?
I don't know.
And I think, again, I'm just going to say, I think Robert Jordan just rushes relationships, and to the point where I'm like, I don't care about them because you rush them so quickly.
Agreed. Do you want to talk about Thom next?
Sure. Are you glad that he's back?
Yeah. I like what they're doing with Thom. Like, he seems, well, I don't understand how Thom has lived this entire full life where it's like, you got kicked out by a woman you loved. And then, like, what happened to Denna was awful. But it's like, man, he has not taken these hits really well. But he seemed to have lived a very long life doing pretty okay for himself.
And it's one of those things where I'm wondering if, like, this was just the straw that broke the camel's back type situation, you know, that he's finally just reached that point where he's like, I've held it together for so long and I just can't anymore. I just can't. Yes. I can't pretend that I'm okay. I'm not.
But then he's perfectly fine when, like, he's someone who is addicted to the adventure. So he wanted to get out of the adventure, and then something awful happened to him and it broke the camel's back. And it's almost like too much happened. And then he couldn't get out of his own addiction. You know, like, it was easier to go back into the addiction of the adventure with Matt than it would be to actually take care of himself, because Thom is not equipped to take care of himself.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think he also sees himself in the role of mentor and protector of these boys. And he, especially Rand, and he wants to get back to Rand.
That's fair.
And he's kind of okay being with Matt because he feels protective of him as well. But he wants to get back to Rand, especially to help him.
I'm not sure I got a ton of that in this book, but I like that thought. I like that thought process. Because I was looking at it as more as him just addicted to the overall journey, but him also needing to help Rand. I could see that as well.
Yeah, I feel like that's the vibe that I get from him, is that he wants to help Rand. And he feels that he's very well equipped to do so.
I definitely like that perspective. I don't think either of us are wrong. I was looking at it more because I was also interested in the fact that, like, I think Thom's addicted to the journey. And then when he like got taken out of the journey, he went to another addiction, which is alcohol. And then it's interesting because he and Matt are both traveling together as two addicts, and they're feeding off each other. And so I liked that read for that specific reason. You're watching two addicts in different things kind of be toxic for each other, because they're both letting each other, like, kind of run away from the issue instead of dealing with it or having healthy communication. Because ain't nobody in this book got healthy communication.
No.
Yeah. But I also like that, like, even if Thom's helping Matt, a lot of times he'll still say, you go do that by yourself. I'll stay here.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of over this. I'm just going to hang out with the innkeeper and do my own thing. So I appreciate that. I always like that, like, Thom's also technically disabled because he has, like, an issue with his leg now too. And that's often discussed. Right. So that's good representation. And I'm
kind of like worried about his cough also.
Yeah. He's been coughing. Older, man. And I feel like Thom almost has a death wish now, which is not great.
Which I don't know if it's a death wish, but he's definitely more reckless than he would have been.
Well, and like you said, like, the straw that broke the camel's back is hit. He's kind of just done. Like, it's almost maybe not like suicidal, but he is not, like, he's not going to remove himself from a dangerous situation anymore.
Sure.
Now, what do we think about, do you want to do Loyal?
Sure.
Okay.
There's not much to say about Loyal. He gets the short end of the stick in every situation. The one good thing that could happen to him is he's going to be able to sleep in an Ogier bed. And then guess what? No, he's not. Robert Jordan says, oh, look, Loyal fans, you know what? I'll give Loyal something. A bed that he doesn't have to hang half of his body off of to sleep in. And then he says, you know what? No. Doesn't get to sleep in that bed. That's what happens to Loyal. That's what happens to Loyal.
Please raise your hand if you have been victimized by the plot. Loyal would keep his arm up constantly.
Gosh.
Poor Loyal.
Loyal never gets anything. That's what this book should be about.
Yeah, Loyal always gets the short end of the stick.
He's writing probably the books we're reading. I'm guessing that will be thrown in there sometime, that they'll mention that Loyal has written all of these books. What did you name them, Loyal? The Wheel of Time. I'm sure that's what it'll be.
Okay, again, I'm going to say it. I said it last week. I'll say it this week. I'll say it next week. Loyal would not be that creepy with descriptions about human women. He's not interested in their breasts.
I don't know. He seemed interested in Celine.
He only talked to Celine. Like, he was never hitting on her, but he did notice she was pretty.
That's true. He did say, though, like, she's the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. Like, everyone said that. Like, oh.
Because it's true, Laura. Didn't you see that hairstyle?
Don't say it.
Yeah, Loyal always gets the short end of the stick. Laura and I will die on this hill. Now he's writing a book that's probably the book series. And I hate that trope in modern day cinema. It's overused.
Yeah.
I wanted to write a book, and that's the book you're reading right now.
We'll get to the end, like in the very last book. It'll like say, bye, Loyal.
We'll say Loyal. Love, Loyal.
As I head back to my studying.
I hope that Ogier woman isn't married yet. And he never gets a plotline ever. Because
good
Loyal's
thing
too humble.
us Ogiers are not that hasty.
Oh, jeez. And then it ends with the...
just like dot, dot, dot. That's how the series ends.
Oh, God. I hope...
Dot, dot, dot.
If you are right, I will give you $100 for being that right. Say it on the podcast.
If we find out that Loyal wrote The Wheel of Time.
And it ends with dot, dot, dot.
Oh, it's not going to end with dot, dot, dot. Come on. Yes, even I will give Robert Jordan some credit and be like, he's not going to be that guy. That's just like...
If at the end of the series, Loyal's the one writing the books, I will give Laura $100 because that's a good call. I think she's right, but I just don't care that much about money.
I was going to say, might as well just give me $100.
Right.
Take $100, throw it out the window.
Out the window. It's raining dollars. Okay, so let's see. Who else do we have? We have Galad and Gawain, which I think we should just talk about as a group because we never see them on their own. They could be conjoined twins.
Can
and I would believe
just
you.
Throw this out there? They love Egwene, but when have they interacted with her?
It is the creepiest. Like, it's like, hey, just so you know.
This is what I mean about relationships being rushed. Elaine says, you should actually look into Gawain because he's in love with you, but he would never look your way because Galad is in love. Like, what? Why are they in love with her? They already know this woman.
Also, no, the Egwene stuff came out of nowhere with Gawain.
Yes.
Like, and then also Egwene's reaction is to be like, oh, I never even thought about Gawain. And it's like, why would you? He hasn't spoken to you.
Why would you think of him, Egwene? Why? He said two things, and not to you.
Well, and then Galad is like, always hitting on her in front of like 6 other people, but not really. Like, he's just
no, it's
hey
not
there, Egwene. And how
is
you
that
doing?
really hitting on her when he's just like, how is Egwene doing? Like, is that hitting on someone? Or you just ask your sister, like, how's Egwene doing? Like, no.
I mean, this is olden day time, so people get married for no reason at all, apparently, because in this book,
a sideways glance.
Yeah, a sideways glance means that you have the hots for each other and you're going to get married. Like, it's so dumb. They're like, these boys have nothing to do. I'm sure they'll have more to do in the future books.
Again, with the rushing.
There's just two boys walking around, hanging out, doing sword fights, getting beat up by Matt. And then they're both in love with the Queen when they haven't interacted with her at all. These boys are milquetoast nothings. And I will stand by that until Jordan decides to actually give them characterization.
The other thing that I am a little nervous about, I'm like, is this going to be another rushed relationship where they just mention, oh, Gawain is in love with the Queen, and then it's all of a sudden, boom, they're together.
Yes, Laura, that is exactly what's going to happen. Because that's all that ever happens in these books.
So annoying.
Well, yeah, it is annoying. I agree.
The Queen deserves better.
The Queen deserves so much better because she is still getting over her awful high school boyfriend. So give her something better.
Who wants 3 women to fight over him.
Oh, also, okay, one random last note on Rand. It really bugged me when in his dreams he was like, Min and Elaine were the worst when it came to feeling betrayed and worried about them. And it's like, you don't know these women. You've never interacted with them. More of Jordan rushing love interests.
Worse than his parents.
Worse than his dead mother. This woman is...
That's why... I didn't understand that either when he was like, Min betrayed me. That was the worst of all. And is it, though? Is that the worst? You've known her, what, 1.2 seconds? And that's worse than your father and mother betraying you?
It's just not worse. That bothered me so much when I read that. I was just like, what are you talking about? It's your parents.
That's why I get so annoyed
friends.
with these relationships being so rushed, because it just doesn't make sense in situations like that where he's like, the worst part was when this woman that I barely knew betrayed me. Really? I usually don't feel betrayed by strangers, but
it is very dumb. I don't like it. Don't want it. And yeah, that's it. That was my random Randall Thor side note, guys. Add us if you disagree, but also, how could you disagree?
Nobody disagrees.
Do we want to talk about like Julian or any of the Julian Sander, who was the thief catcher who betrayed the girls, or any of the other ancillary characters?
I don't really have anything to say about Julian. Do you?
No, I mean, I feel like every time we meet a secondary character who's going to be with us for like a book and a half, is always the same man. Like falling all over himself, kind of dumb.
Yeah, like in the last book, it was, what's his name, Ingtar? Is that the one that was surprisingly a dark friend?
Yeah,
and then we
Ingtar, and then
from him again.
Erin, who was like in this book for 2 chapters.
That we were like, oh yeah, this could actually be a cool character if they like let him do something. And then Jordan was like, no,
he went home. he went home. So
okay, but you know who I'm gonna let stick around, and I'm gonna let other people just treat him like crap. Loyal's
gonna be here for all 14 books, and he's never gonna have a story.
Nothing good will ever happen to him.
But yeah, Jordan always has like a middle-aged man who's just there, like for plot contrivances. When he meets up with Max, he feels bad because he let the girls get captured, and then he's useless when Matt gets into the castle. I do think it's cool that Matt never uses a sword. He always uses the quarterstaff.
The quarterstaff? Yeah, that is cool.
I like that. And then the Forsaken also all have the same personality. When they're men, they just want power. They want to kill the Dark One. Right. I do think it's interesting that like we found out that Balsamon and Ishamael, like Ishamael was using Balsamon's name.
Yeah, okay. And also that's very confusing.
I mean, it's very confusing. You were right. But it is interesting to know that like the head Dark One doesn't know what like his lackeys are doing anymore. Like he does not have control over them at all. And Ishmael's just been able to do this for years. It's very interesting.
Yeah, they've gone rogue, and it's kind of almost, I don't know if it's necessarily like a power struggle, but it seems kind of like that, where they're all kind of trying to become the most powerful.
Right. I mean, his body was found, so like, is he dead? We don't know. He might be dead, but the series of every other book is he's never dead. So I don't know. Do you have anything else to say about the men? They're more interesting than the women. We discussed that.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Jinx.
I don't have anything.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything I can't think of anything. Let us know if we missed something, or if you have a different
view. If there's a character that you have, if you really think that Loyal's getting a lot of good storylines, that you think he deserves to sleep on half a bed and be really uncomfortable, let us know.
Or if you have any other views that are non-Loyal related, we are happy to get those as well. But
direct your Loyal emails to me.
Yes, because
that's Laura, Leura.
Are you actually going to give them your email? Oh, you're going to give them your name.
I'm just going to give them my name.
Email address. And I was like, that's juicy. If you do want to email Laura, you can email us at owwrpod@gmail.com. Or you can find us on all the social platforms at owwrpod, except for TikTok, because we don't show our faces. But all the other ones, give us an @ rate, review, and subscribe. Rating and reviewing gives us a great opportunity to be shown to other people in the community. And we just want more people to come join us on this journey as we talk through the Wheel of Time. So everyone have a great day. Bye.
Bye.